I declare. Would like to acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on today and respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We recognise that many generations of stewardship the Kaurna people have provided to this land and respect that their cultural heritage and beliefs are as important today as they were for their ancestors. Present today, we have myself, Mayor, Deputy Mayor Liz Trotter, Councillor Core, Councillor, no, we don't have Councillor Ninke, Councillor Ripp, Councillor Vanstone, Councillor Williams and Councillor Zeppel, staff and attendants, Chief Executive Officer, Group Manager Assets and Infrastructure, Group Manager Strategy, Governance and Compliance, Group Manager Corporate Services, WHS HR Coordinator and Council Secretariat and Governance Officer. Received no apologies. Received Councillor Ninke. Not present or on leave of absence, we have Councillor Allenson on a leave of absence from the 1st of August 23 to the 30th of July 24, inclusive. Councillor Vanstone will be on a leave of absence from the 19th of October to the 15th of November, inclusive. And we have Councillor Trotter, who has a request for a leave of absence from the 23rd of October to the 1st of November 23, inclusive. We will just need to vote on that. So, Councillor Trotter, are you moving that? Yes. Seconded, Councillor Zeppel. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Are there any other leave of absences coming up? No. I will move on to item 2, which is confirmation of the minutes. You probably noticed that the minutes are now all at the rear of the agenda papers, so hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to get to the substantive agenda items. So item 2.1 is the ordinary council meeting of the 18th September 23. There a mover for that? Thank you, Councillor Vanstone, seconded Councillor Zeppel. Any questions? All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Next is item 2.2, the Sustainability Committee. The meeting was held on the 4th of October 23. Those minutes are there. The minutes of the Sustainability Committee be received and noted. Motion, Councillor Williams, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Core. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Item 2.3 is the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 5th of October 23. So this is a motion to receive and note those minutes. Councillor Trotter, thank you. Councillor Zeppel, seconded. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Next is item 2.4, the Special CEO Performance Review Committee meeting held on the 9th of October. So this is a motion to receive and note those minutes. Mover, Councillor Trotter, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Core. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Next is Councillor Ninke, 703. Yep. Item 2.5 is the Error Water Board meeting held on the 21st of September 23, and that is to receive and note those minutes.
After I move it, can I speak first?
Sure. Yep. Councillor Trotter's moved. Councillor Vanstone seconded.
I just wanted to, after reading through Error Water from the Audit Committee point of view, Tony, through the chair, is there any further elaboration on the independent review that was going to be done?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
Through the chair, so in Council's annual business plan and budget, there is a project in there, I think a budget of $10,000 for Council to do a review of Error Water. I have had conversations with the other two council CEOs involved with Error Water about what that first step might be. And my first step will be to write to those CEOs asking the question whether they're willing to be a part of that review process. So that's going to be my first step.
through,
Sorry, Councillor Vanstone's asking.
Yeah, it's going to be right to ages ago.
yeah.
Because I've been chasing this.
I thought there was, so, sorry, through the chair, I thought that we'd actually had confirmation that they were comfortable with being a part of the independent review. And from the audit committee, I believe they're making that's what the foundation of future developments will be made on is what the outcome is from that.
So through the chair, I had a conversation with the two CEOs and they're not comfortable with the review process. So I'm going to write to them and have that written confirmation from them and then come back to council to decide the next step forward.
Sorry about that. I didn't know that. Thank you. Were you under the same assumption?
Oh, I hadn't heard that. I've raised it a few times in the award meetings.
Yeah.
And everyone professes ignorance about it.
Yeah, so that would be the other, if I can just, I felt that there were dot points even when it was relating to certain things like on here about renewing the CAD facility on a variable rate. There was little to no information on how long that was for, what the interest rate was. There was no sort of backup on a lot of these motions from a financial point of view. I felt it was quite light on from a financial figures backing up that information from the report. So,
Councillor Vanstone, you'd like to give us a report on the subsidiary meeting at the agenda item when we get to it.
thank you.
Okay, Councillor
Just curious, is there any additional information as to why the other two CEOs were not comfortable with the review, given where ERA is at the moment?
Yeah. Through the chair, I think they're keen to provide an opportunity for Jeff Tate and Andrew Aiken to do some more work around some strategising, their long-term financial planning, and see if they can attract some more business to Era Water. I think they want to see that opportunity provided first and foremost. That was my understanding before jumping into a review.
So I was trying to remember, they did workshop before you commenced and you went through a little bit of that. I didn't think it sounded overly optimistic.
I think one of the councils was on the verge of not approving the business plan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's basically my last question. Sorry, I was just curious.
So through the chair, I think the best way forward is for me to formally write to those CEOs and get their formal response so that this council knows what the next step may be.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on those minutes? So I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Next item is 2.6, the East Waste Board meeting held on the 21st of September 23. This is a motion to receive and note those minutes. Mover, Councillor Zephyr, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Williams. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Do any members have any declarations of interest to declare this evening? No. There are no deputations today. There are no petitions today. Next item is item 6, and 6.1 is the Mayor's Diary. If there are no questions, I'll look for a mover. Councillor Trotter, thank you. Seconded. Councillor Zephyr, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Council member reports. Any reports from anyone? No. Council members' subsidiary reports. Councillor Vanstone, do you have anything to add to the Era Water to elaborate on the minutes?
I don't think the other councils really want to have a review. And that excuse that they're waiting on these projects to sort of be confirmed, it's been the case ever since I've been on it. It's nearly a year now. Nothing's changed. They have all these lists of things which might happen, but nothing ever seems to come to fruition. So I think we've got a sort of strategy meeting tomorrow. But after that, I think we've got to have a serious talk about where we go with Era Water.
No, thank you. We've had no questions from the gallery as of 12 o'clock today. We don't have gallery here anyway. Are there any questions without notice? There are no questions on notice. I am aware of one motion without notice, so I'll pass to Councillor Troffer.
Thank you. I'll just explain the motion that I'm putting up here. So while I'm in favour of the Buckingham Arms Corner being developed, I believe that consideration should be given for the integration of balance and quality of the development within our council area. As the town of Walkerville is not considered a growth council with limited experience in completing and submitting SCAP reports, I do believe we would benefit from engaging a consultant at a cap cost to streamline the process due to the complexity of the development. So I'm putting this motion forward. Happy for others to put into it, but I really do believe that we need to take this as a consideration and really put something in. I'm not opposed to the site being developed. I just think the height of it is something to consider and future developments in the area.
Would the meeting like to suspend standing orders for a little while to discuss this? Show of hands, please. Thank you. Carried.
Well, I'm happy to support the motion, and I guess what was telling for me is, I know obviously a number of you would be aware in the room that we put an information piece out to the community, and we letterbox that to all of the township. Even while I was out letterboxing in Vale Park, I had numerous conversations with people, and overall people were happy, I guess, to see some sites develop, but like you, they're concerned about height and they're concerned about traffic impacts when Walkerville Terrace is already gridlocked in the morning for people in Vale Park going to work. This 185 or whatever is proposed in the 185 homes. The comments were like, well, how's it going to impact on parking, street appeals, street traffic? The height, there were concerns raised about height. So I had numerous conversations, and whilst people are happy with development, a lot of the feedback was people will make a submission on quality development and making sure that that's also kept with the character of the area as well. So I think it's a good motion because it talks about exactly, and waste as well came up. Yep. So look, I'm happy with what you're proposing now. I'm happy to support it.
Yep.
So, through the chair, over the weekend did a fair bit of work on this particular one, looking very closely at the plans, and I have a number of pages here. That particular site abuts two different zones. So, based on the code as it stands, there's supposed to be a setback on both boundaries. There's a setback on the Walkerville Terrace site. There is no setback on the Northcote Terrace site, and that is a different zone. So it meets in there. There's also, there's no allowance for landscape and vegetation on that boundary. So in the original proposal to initiate the code amendment, the following was stated: that it was possible development options could include housing for the aged and/or nursing home and suitable non-residential development. So that was in the proposal for the zoning change in May last year. There's a number of other points. Affordable housing is one question in there. There's traffic noise and air quality. There's green and open space and other aspects of sustainability in there. The one I'm really looking for is so there's a number of acronyms. There's a performance outcome. So under PO 5.1 of the urban corridor living zone, which is the zone that parcel of land is in, also considers that community benefit can be achieved through providing affordable housing and states. Consolidation of significant development sites, which is a site with a frontage of over 25 metres to a primary road corridor and over 2,500 square metres in an area which may include one or more allotments. To achieve increased development yield provided that one-off site impacts can be managed and broader community benefit is achieved in terms of design quality, community service, affordable housing or sustainability features. And affordable housing overlay applies to this site. With developments of 20 dwellings or more, there is a need for inclusion of 15% affordable housing. It's not clear how this aspect has been addressed in the proposed development. So I can go on a bit longer, but yes, there's quite a lot that's quite concerned about in there. There is also the 24.5 metres is the height, and that's 5 to 6 stories, and there's a 30% uplift. If you take the 30% uplift on the meterage, you land precisely to the millimetre the height of the building now. So I'm not sure that was the intention of what was in there. The 5 to 6, if you do the 30% on that, it becomes not quite 8. The no setback, there's also a provision at the 4th level. It's supposed to step back by 2 metres. It's not doing that. It's going straight up. So there's quite a lot in here. And I concur that we do need to engage a professional on this because, I've got an amount of information here, but this is not what I do day to day. So I'm sure there's a whole lot more that could go into this. And we've got, that's going to be there for the next 70 years. So we get one shot at this. So there's a whole lot of inconsistencies with where it sits. So, and just because it's not coming to the cap, I have a conflict of interest in this one. Whereas there is other notification that's around at the moment. I do have a conflict. Yeah, so that is coming to cap. Yeah. So we won't be speaking of that one, or if we do, I will absent myself on the room. But that's not the topic for tonight.
Can I just ask, so I know we're on suspension standing on the CEO, because obviously I'm very supportive of a motion Councillor Trotter's, Deputy Mayor Trotter's put forward. The only thing I just want to check is if the item ever comes back then to council, if we've got council to put a submission in to SCAP, is there other issues around conflict of interest if the item ever comes back to council? Will council also have a conflict if we've got a submission that's gone in, or will it be okay because we've had someone make a submission to SCAP on our behalf? I just wanted to check that there's no conflict of interest issues if we're getting updates this development coming to council for all of us around the room. Obviously, we don't want to cause an issue where we wipe ourselves out, but we just want to reiterate in the submission of SCAP what we're hearing in the community, and what we're hearing is issues around height, traffic, parking, waste. That's come up.
I think the fact that the development is with SCAP, there's certainly no conflict with council. So council has an opportunity to make a representation like anyone else.
It's been resolved in to SCAP, so there's no problem. There's ever a precedent that it's been put back.
So I wouldn't have thought. I just wanted to get that clarification. Good. No, it's good.
Okay. Does anyone else want to talk about this, or otherwise we'll go to moving out?
Probably my question would be what budget would we be willing? How far do you want to go?
My understanding is that the budget being talked about was about $5,000.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't think we need to throw a lot of money into it. I just think it needs to be and then we've got a template of something, if something else comes up in a different area, because I figured this, I guess the consensus of the community is if this becomes 10-story, what are we seeing in other corridors? And that was the issue. Not that there was development taking place, but purely just the size and they want good quality development. They just want to have a say in the size of it. So I respect that.
Councillor Kwong.
With the chair, I would like to ask, is this trailer open to the public consultation yet, or the council still can make some decisions and give some ideas?
This is still open for public consultation until the 26th of October.
Originally, it's the 19th. That's right.
That's 59 PM on 27th.
Okay.
I suppose when selecting a consultant, because some of the bigger consultants would obviously be working with some of the developers, also supporting other developments that we see. You probably have to be careful in the selection that you have someone that's kind of opposed to this type of selection if you want to get sort of your tank for butt, I suppose. But yeah, So yeah, that's just a comment.
Yeah,
That's point. Totally agree.
they would be assessing it against the code as it stands and the intention of the code and the process by which it went through to get to where it is now. Andrew?
So through the chair, in terms of the comment about someone who's opposed to the development, I think if council's engaging a consultant, a planning consultant to advocate on their behalf, then my expectation is that that's what they would do. It's no different from a lawyer in court. They're going to sort of speak on behalf of the people they're supporting or advocating for. So I don't think shouldn't be a major issue. If council is putting forward these are the issues, these are our areas of concern, and then a professional planner should be able to pitch the strongest story in relation to supporting council's areas of concern. So I don't feel it's a major. I don't feel we have to seek someone who's opposed to the development necessarily, but rather someone who's a quality, experienced planner who knows what they're talking about.
Okay, so we had Councillor Trotter moved that. Who was seconding it?
So we move
Yes,
back
we'll move
into
back into meeting procedures. So Councillor Rip seconding. Sure. Yep. Okay. Anyone else like to speak for or against the motion? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Okay, are there any other motions without notice? No motions on notice. So moving on to item 14.1.1, the Greater Adelaide Regional Plan. So following the workshop, we have a preliminary proposal attached as attachment A to the report. The motion there that council effectively makes any necessary minor amendments and then submits it along with an update or a review of the urban master plan by the 31st of March 24. Andrew or Scott, do you have anything further to add to the report?
Nothing further to add, Your Worship. I think the report speaks to the commentary that council made at the workshop, and I think it's quite clear.
Councillor Williams?
I was just going to move it and say exactly that.
Yep. Okay. Seconded. Councillor Core, thank you. Anyone else like to speak for or against? All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Item 14.1.2 is the draft asset management plans for roads, footpaths and stormwater for consultation. These have been through the audit committee and thank you to Councillor Nenke who raised this original motion. James, would you have anything to add to the report?
Nothing further to add. I'll just second that with Councillor Nenke and the audit committee. Thank you for their efforts in reviewing these and providing feedback.
Okay, so a mover. I have to give that one to Councillor. Anyone else like to speak for or against? All those in favour? Yeah, that's carried unanimously. Item 14.2.1, the behavioural management policy for adoption. It has been out for consultation with no submissions on it. So this is now a recommendation to adopt that policy. Scott, anything to add?
No, Your Worship.
You're a mover. Councillor Zeppel, seconder, Councillor Trotter. Any other questions or speaking for or against? All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Next one is item 14.2.2. The draft casual vacancies supplementary elections policy for adoption. Again, this one went out for consultation with no responses received. Got anything else to add?
No, nothing further to add, Your Worship.
Thank you. Your mover. Councillor Vanstone, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Ritt. Any questions? Anything else? All those in favour? Thank you. You're in favour. Yeah. Yep. Carried unanimously. Okay. Item 14.3.1. the council resolution register. So a record of what has been completed and what is ongoing or outstanding. Danielle or Andrew, anything to add to the report?
I may add something.
Yep.
I just wanted to thank Danielle for the work that she's done on this resolution register. What we're aiming to do is put in front of council members each month an update on the resolutions of council. And where we mark it as completed, what we're looking for is for council to agree that that particular decision has been completed to the satisfaction of council. And if you feel it hasn't been, then that needs to be brought to administrative attention and amendments be made so that we can deliver to the satisfaction of council.
Any questions on that resolutions register? Is there a mover? Councillor Williams, seconded Councillor Core. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Next item is 14.3.2. The Sustainability Committee Terms of Reference Review and Presiding Member Appointment. So as you know, the Sustainability Committee held its inaugural meeting and recommends some amendments to the Terms of Reference in line with what the Council put forward in its resolution previously. A further change, though, is that rather than there being a reference to a committee executive member, that's changed to the Chief Executive Officer as the member of that committee, or not member, as the responsible officer, I think it is. The committee has recommended the appointment of Councillor Zeppel as the presiding member of the Sustainability Committee. And with the change to the terms of reference, which puts the mayor as an ex officio member, there is a vacancy in that committee as well. So we might just take items 1 and 2 to start off with, to see if there are room for those 2 items. Councillor Vanstone, thank you. Seconded Councillor Williams. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. So who has an interest in the Sustainability Committee? Anyone? Who's not already on it? No. Okay. So then we just keep a vacancy. Yep. So then I don't think we need a resolution, or do we say?
You've only moved 1 and 2. You probably can just
That you can
just
leave.
Just fill that one. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Okay, item 14.3.3, the audited financial statements for 22-23. These have obviously, I hope, been through the audit committee. Vicky, anything to add?
Nothing further, thank you.
Any questions? Okay, Councillor Vanstone moves it, seconded Councillor Trotter.
Question.
Councillor Zeppel has a question.
Through the chair, just a clarification on page 112 of the hybrid. There's an overall amount of over expenditure of 341k, and 30k of that was ours. There's a formula by which that's worked out.
Correct, that's our equity share in their operating surplus or deficit.
Yeah, and the only other question I had related to which one? The 1 point. So there's 1.06 million over what period of time? Written in pensions.
It also should be Highbury landfill or something else?
No. Oh, that's on page 111. The 1.06 million is in other non-current assets. It's primarily made of work in progress. And that's the balance as at 30th of June. Was there any time frame over which that balance has accrued?
Through your worship, so the major projects are the majority of that balance. So that's been over the last 2 financial years. The Vale House work and the Levi Park infrastructure have been over, I want to say 3 to 4 years from memory. These are all due to be, so to be in WIP, they have to be completed within another 1 to 2 financial years is what the advice of our auditors have suggested. So we can't just keep continuing on any further than this. These have to be completed in 1 to 2 years, with the exception of the major projects. So the Levi and the Vale don't have much longer that we have to get them completed.
Councillor Lincoln.
Yes, I've got a quick question. It's nothing, directly related to Walkerville Council. Every council, I've seen does it. The asset renewal funding ratio. I've often wondered why we don't actually be a bit more specific, not break it down for the read as to the class, whether it's, for past buildings, storm water, etc. Because there's a bit of commentary around, like going back now, there's money put aside for Walkerville overlay development, etc., etc. If we had that sort of broken up, I mean, like also with the asset management plan, when you read through, and as I sort of discussed, that I always felt like some of our expenditure might have been low for footpaths. So it'd be nice to see where we're not really, why are we sitting at 71%? And then, it might give a bit of clarity around that. Like I said, it's not Walkerville. I think we councils do it, but I've often just wondered why, a bit of transparency, and that way the elected board can actually can see where maybe we should be putting a bit more attention. Just a question more than
thoughts through your worship. So I guess with the asset plans, and if it's up as part of, say, for example, footpaths where we're not covering annual depreciation, it's sort of the funding that we've set aside, you can make that comparison, but whether we can actually turn that into a ratio that can be presented in future audited financial statements, we can deeper dive into, and maybe as part of the asset plan endorsement for November, that may be a ratio we can include per asset class.
Yeah, so I mean, we're working in this space, and we will be establishing, to my knowledge, over a period of time, our service levels and what level of expenditure we, based on technical data as well, how much expenditure we want to apply to or invest into a given asset. But then, where does our budget not, because it only informs a long-term financial plan. It's not, a long-term financial plan doesn't have to, carry that budget per se, but it'd be nice to see where we're not, especially during some of the times through COVID where we've had to cut budget across, I'll say roads, for example, where are we sitting lower than we should be, based on those sort of defined intervention points. So, I sometimes think that if we had it all broken up, we can say, okay, roads is down, footpaths is down, but stormwater's up. I'm just making that up. Yeah.
Through the chair, I do think, and with our next iteration of plans with buildings in particular, we will find, because some of those assets, say like 39 Smith, etc., those renewal ratios are thrown out of whack because those assets are sort of towards the end of life, and we're planning their upgrades, and those upgrades haven't happened. But personally, I'd like to know as well why that ratio is maybe a little lower than it should be, because overall our assets perform quite okay. But yeah, I think a deeper dive next financial year as part of these statements might be, once we've got the asset plans established, we'll be able to provide more detail on where that ratio is at for each asset class rather than overall.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. I'm not asking for any change here, but maybe just for consideration in next year, when we go through this process again, and maybe we can start looking at breaking it up a bit. That's all. So, like I said, all other councils do it this way. We think that we can be different. So, yeah, excellent. Thanks.
Okay, anyone else like to speak for or against? All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Okay, item 14.3.4 is the appointment of me as the Mayor as the representative for the Local Government Finance Authority and Local Government Association of South Australia AGMs and general meetings for the term of the council.
Move that one.
Thank you. Moved, Councillor Witt. There's everyone. Councillor, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Okay, item 14.3.5 is to do with the collaboration with Port Adelaide Enfield on the 40 kilometre per hour zone in the area between Ascot Avenue, North East Road, Fife Street and the Torrens. So put that to public consultation for a period of 21 days. Moved, Councillor Reid.
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to it as well. I'll just say a few words. Obviously, we've consulted the rest of the township on the 40k bit. This just completes the rest of Vale Park to give the rest of Vale Park the opportunity to have their say. Understand that it had to be separated out because of the border of the Dit Road, so no issues there. But this will be good to partner in with City Port Adelaide Enfield to get the rest of Vale Park surveyed, so that way we can safely say with our data we've surveyed all of the township. I always knew, but based on my conversations with the community when I was doing, I think during the campaign and post-election as well, there would be a reasonable level of support for the 40k, particularly through that first bit of Vale Park and Walkerville and Gilberton, where a lot of comments were given to me. But I was actually really chuffed that the level of support I'd actually picked up in the survey was even higher than I thought. So, and it was higher, the level of support was higher here than at my time at Prospect as well, and yet we're able to get it done at Prospect. So, yeah, well, I'd be curious to see what this part of Vale Park thinks, given the fact it's bordering on the other side of the Ascot Avenue or the Dit Road, but just seek your support in continuing the process. Thank you.
So I think we had Councillor Williams was
just happy to
second that. Yeah, would you like to speak to it?
No, once again, similar to the report earlier with the urban master plan, I think we covered this pretty well in the workshop we had. And report pretty much just says that, so it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, great, thank you. Councillor Nenke.
Is there any, as the City Port Adelaide Enfield Council met and given a decision on this? Yeah.
Through the chair, yes. So our understanding is that Port Adelaide Enfield endorsed their consultation last week. So our plans, if successful tonight, we'll convene a meeting with them to work out a plan to roll out the consultation from the 23rd, so that both sets of residents are receiving the information at the same time.
Okay, so they support, the council support.
My understanding at this stage, yes, that they've supported to proceed. But yeah, we'll confirm that if we get this over the line tonight.
Would anyone else like to speak for or against, or any questions? Okay, all those in favour? You in favour? Is that a yes? You're not in favour? No? Okay, that's carried. Not unanimous. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, item 14.4.1, the Highbury Landfill Authority Board Representation Appointment. So this is a motion to appoint James as the board representative to the Highbury Landfill Authority for a period of 3 years.
Move that way.
Moved Councillor Whip, second Councillor Trotter. All those in favour? Thank you. It's carried unanimously. Okay, so up here, identification of items for individual consideration. So we will move these on block. You might have noticed a bit of an explanation earlier in the agenda as to moving things on block. So please call out if you'd like to have any questions or anything to speak to regarding any of these reports. Otherwise, we will move them as one. Items. Sorry?
I'm happy to move this.
Okay, we'll just go through the 3 items first. Item 16.3.1. Item 16.3.2. which is the decisions of the Council Assessment Panel, of which there were none. And item 16.3.3, the Civic and Community Centre Christmas closure for 2023.
Me.
Okay, so with that, is there a mover to move items 16.3.1, 3.2 and 3.3? Nine. Thank you, Councillor Hall. Seconded, Councillor Trotter. All those in favour? Okay, that's carried unanimously. Okay, there's no subsidiary reports, no correspondence. Is there any urgent other business? Nope. Okay, so we're going to move on to confidential items, and the first one is item 19.1. The Good Watson Car Park discretionary rebate application 23-24. And so I'll ask for a mover to move us into confidence in line with that resolution there on the screen. Councillor Ritt, thank you. Moved, seconded. Councillor Zeppel, all those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. For the time being, 7:41 p.m, the meeting moves. Item 19.2 is the Jones Watson Car Park discretionary rebate application 23-24. There a mover to move us into confidence, please. Councillor Zeppel, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Menke. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Time being 7:43 p.m, the meeting moved into confidence. Okay, so item 19.3 is the CEO Performance Review Committee appointment of consultant. We'll again move into confidence. Mover, Councillor Zeppel, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Core, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Time being 7:45 p.m, the meeting moved into confidence.
Done.
Okay, so the time being 7:47 p.m, I declare the meeting closed.